10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Yes, good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Sam here, live on United Daily Live. I rarely actually say the title of the show, but I did it this morning. I remembered. How are you all doing? I think we're all feeling a little bit better after the last 10 minutes of that game last night. Wow. What a goal from Anthony Elanga. What a result, really, given what happened in the overall 90-minute game there against Atletico Madrid. We go back to Old Trafford in, 2-3 weeks' time, and it is game on. Manchester United completely and utterly dominated for the first 45 minutes. It really was not a good game to watch up until a certain Anthony Elanga came up with the goal that we desperately needed. What a cool finish from the lad. And I'm really going to be speaking about him this morning. I'm going to be speaking about Ralf Rangnick and his reaction to the game. There's a lot of important things that we need to discuss in today's live stream. I'm going to be speaking about Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo, and plenty more. And as always, I'm going to be answering your questions. Andy, as you're saying there, my friend, I actually got a prediction spot on. I wouldn't say the game went how I thought it was going to go, but the prediction was right. I thought it would be a score draw. I called it as a 1-1, and it was a 1-1. And I'll be honest, I am taking that result with both hands, because after that first 45 minutes, probably like 55, 60 maybe, up until Matic, Wan-Bissaka and Telles came on, whoa, United were woeful, absolutely woeful. And I said I will be speaking about the individual performances of Bruno Fernandes, individual performance of Marcus Rashford, and of Cristiano Ronaldo. But there's only one way. There's only one place I can start here. As much as I can see Dan Justin down there in the comments, you're saying the first half was disgusting, and it was disgusting. It was awful. It was abysmal. It was tragic. It was I don't know, whatever superlative you want to use to describe that first half, you're going to be right, because it was crap. Absolutely abysmal. It's like United didn't expect Atletico Madrid to come out and be aggressive. That's exactly how Atletico Madrid play. That's how they've always played. It's how they always will play. So for us to sort of pretend that we didn't expect that is weird, very odd. Look, on YouTube this morning, I've switched the chat mode to subscribers only. I think in the last week, it's not just in the last week, for a long time, really, that the chat can get a bit absorbed and spammed quite a lot. Look, the chat is not there simply so you can say what you want. The chat is there for conversation. If you want to get involved, and I'd love you to get involved, become a subscriber, become part of the community, and then you're free to get involved. I don't just want people trashing the comments, because I look at the comments, I read the comments so much. If it descends into an argument or spam, it kind of distracts me. So it's a bit pointless. Morning, MC Talkative. How you doing there, buddy? Anthony Farrow, as always. Craig Williams, good morning to all of you. What members we got on here this morning? We've got Matt O'Neill. Good morning to you, Matt. Jigar, it's nice to see you. T, you're there as well. Sam Rawlinson, Andy Parker, Salim, Paul. Good morning to all of you members. Lovely to see you. And I tell you what a goal from that bloke, eh? What a goal. What a moment for 19-year-old Anthony Elanga. It was a magnificent finish. It really was a magnificent finish. You could say that Jan Oblak was a little bit too far over to his left-hand side, left a little bit too much space for Elanga, but under that pressure situation, with our first real clear-cut chance of the game in the 80th minute away at Atletico Madrid, my word, what a moment of composure from a player who's looked nothing but composed and ready for first-team football at Manchester United. Anthony Elanga, I sent a tweet out this morning, and I absolutely stand by it. Anthony Elanga is the latest example of Manchester United's academy coming good, and a player breaking through and just looking like a star. Now, Marcus Rashford is obviously, we'll speak about Marcus Rashford later on, and there's obviously someone else I won't mention in this stream, but he looks mustard, doesn't he? He looks absolutely fantastic. And the reason why the academy is so important for me, and important, I think, for Manchester United. Let me turn this light down a little bit too bright. That is a little bit better. The reason, actually, no, let me go up there and then turn that down there. There we go. That's a little bit better. The reason for me why the academy is so good at Manchester United is because the youth, when it comes to the youth, the sort of naivety and the excitement of youth brings a different attitude into the team. It forces the players to play differently. They can't now be sort of complacent about their position. And that's what Elanga's doing. He brings a different type of attitude. And I'll touch on the fact that Ralf Rangnick has effectively called Elanga a role model. And he didn't do it in a condescending way to the other players, but he did it in exactly the right way. I do love how Ralf Rangnick speaks. I really, really do. Speaking, this is what Anthony Elanga said after the game. I think it was my first touch as well. I have dreamt of moments like this. And I'm sure he has. I'm sure he's gone to bed thinking, one day I'll score a Champions League goal for Man United. And he did. He came off the bench and did it away at Atletico Madrid, the current La Liga champions, a team who's got to 2 finals in the last 10 years. Proper European powerhouse. And he's gone and done that. Magic, magic moment. But look at this quote, eh? This quote for me, this quote sums up exactly why players like Elanga are so crucial to Manchester United. So crucial. He said, look, when I get an opportunity for the club, I just want to repay the favour for the manager and leave nothing in the tank and give 150% every time I step onto the pitch. Now, you could say that's Sam, that's just a cliche. What are you sticking around in cliches for? But Elanga's somebody who backs the cliches up with what you see on the pitch. And I think that's a big thing that's frustrated a lot of United fans for quite a long time now, especially like players like Harry Maguire. You always hear him talking the right talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, and it doesn't really happen on the pitch. Says all the right things off it, doesn't really do it on it. On the pitch, Elanga represents that cliche just as much as he does off the pitch in what he says, in how he plays. And when he plays, he gives everything. He goes for those deep runs. He runs in behind. He runs for those second balls. And of course, you could say, Sam, it's only because he came on in the 75th minute and he was playing against tired Atletico legs after they pressed United for the entire game. That I would say, yeah, fair enough. But it's still a measure of the attitude of the player. And there's a reason that Ralf has singled him out as a role model. This is what Ralf said after the game. He said, I wish a few other players would take Elanga's example, or like a role model. Not because he's doing everything right, but he's just enjoying himself on the pitch. I wish we would enjoy ourselves on the pitch. Now, that is such a delicate way for Ralf Rangnick to stick the middle finger up at all of his other players. Because that's exactly what he's doing. Instead of saying, oh, Elanga's actually putting in the work effort, putting in the work rate on the pitch, he's saying, he's just enjoying himself. It's a very mild-mannered way of saying something that's so important and so public. So instead of it's a type of management and a type of style. If you've ever had to manage people, you know it's very difficult to manage people and very difficult to manage different individuals who want different things, who are offended in different ways, and it's very difficult to balance it all. That's why, as I said to you before, that's why there's 1,000 soldiers and only one leader for every 1,001 people. I'm completely made that up, but you know what I mean. There's more soldiers than there are leaders. What Ralf is doing there is a perfect way of complimenting Elanga, whilst at the same time turning it round to everyone else and going, that's what you need to do. All right? Because he could do that the other way around. He could have gone the Mourinho style away there. And instead of complimenting Elanga and saying that he's just enjoying himself on the pitch, and I wish other people did it, Mourinho would have come out and said, well, we were absolutely shocking in the first 45, weren't we? I mean, Ralf did say that, but he'd be like, yeah, all abysmal until this player comes on. Elanga, a 19-year-old. Why are the other players not doing that? And that's the style of management. You could do that if you wanted to. I wouldn't say it completely worked with this Manchester United team because they're full of prima donnas, of people, clearly players who just get offended very easily. But Elanga set the tone. It's not the first time he's done that this season. It's not the last time he'll do that this season. 2 goals in 2 games. 2 really important goals. Fourth one to kill the game against Leeds, and that one there. And he's got some other... I'm doing a video later today, by the way, and I'm doing it on Elanga. I said we need to talk about Anthony Elanga because he's embodying this. For me, he symbolizes how this Manchester United squad and team need to change and what they need to be getting towards. And it's not about, it's attitude over ability. That was my attributing caption on Twitter to this quote here, where Anthony said that he wanted, he always gives 150%. Because you can have all the ability in the world. And I can't be asked now, but because I don't know off the top of my head, but I could list probably at least 10 signings that we've made post Fergie where you'd be like, wow, that ability is wicked. And the attitude just never matched it. And the ability, we never got to truly see the ability because they didn't have the attitude to go alongside it. Angel Di Maria is probably the top example of that, given how much we spent on him. Alexis Sanchez is another one. Ability, when we signed him, we're like, wow, did he have the attitude to match it? Did he fuck? So we didn't see it. So I'd rather see 10 players with I don't know, 10 out of 10 attitude and 6 out of 10 ability, rather than 10 players with 10 out of 10 ability and 6 out of 10 attitude. If you want to speak numbers, all that stuff. Elanga, man, absolutely mustard from him yesterday. And we needed that moment, didn't we? Let me know what you think about Elanga in the comments below, because it's certainly the talking point at United right now. And what goal for him. Joda, you're saying, I had to count Madrid's players. It seemed like they had 15 on the pitch. Hey, that's Atletico Madrid for you, isn't it? I said it in my match reaction yesterday. Their press was incredible. Kondogbia, I would probably say, was man of the match. In the middle, anytime Pogba, Bruno, or Fred had the ball, they had 3 players around him. Now, that should have meant that Manchester United were able to exploit the space. I'll tell you what, I was going to mention this later on, but seeing as I'm talking about it now, that is exactly how Manchester United got the goal. Because look at this. This is Ronaldo. This is Ronaldo's little touchdown to Fred. Fred passes it to Bruno. Bruno slides through Elanga. Look how many players Ronaldo's got round him. Ronaldo yesterday, it was a game where, he was frustrated. I've said this all along. Ronaldo is not a striker at the age of 37 who is going to craft chances himself. He is the king of getting on the end of chances. You do all the legwork, get the ball into him in the 18-yard box, odds are Ronaldo's going to score for you. Simple as that. Yesterday, it was a frustrating game for Ronaldo. Away at Atletico, he wanted to really, really perform, but he didn't have the service, right? Ronaldo, look at his position there. He's down there on the touchline, surrounded by 3 players that he's dragged out of position. That means that when Fred passes to Bruno, and Bruno can run into the space here that would otherwise have been occupied by those 3 players. Ronaldo dragged players away, and that's what should have been happening more often yesterday. And that really annoyed me. Any time that Pogba or Fred or Bruno had the ball, they squeezed. They got they pressed, and they got they had was it overlap? No, it's called overlap. There was more of them, 2 on 1. So they dominated it in the press, and United couldn't do anything. But we were just not playing smartly. All it would have taken would have been a pass back and then a pass into the space that those players had left behind. We didn't do it, but we did it there for the goal. And I'll tell you what, Ronaldo definitely was part of that. So fair play to him for that. Chris, you're asking about Rashford. I'll be speaking about Rashford soon. Anthony is saying Ronaldo had to come into midfield just to touch the ball. It's completely true. Completely true. SM, you're saying Elanga is 100 times better than Rashford. He gave some life on last night's game. Yeah, Rashford really had probably one of his worst performances that I can remember. Jason, you're saying that Felix goal was something else. Hell, it was an incredible, like Van Persie's header against Spain at the World Cup. Proper diving header, but with control in off the post. And any goal that goes in off the post is automatically 10 times better. We all know that. Any goal that goes in crashing off the underside of the crossbar is 50 times better. Those are just the rules of football. Everybody knows that. But I suppose one thing that a lot of you are saying in the comments, which I definitely will agree with, Ralf took a bit of a gamble yesterday, and I don't think it paid off at all. And if we go over to start reading some of Ralf's comments on the football, we can run through that, because he played Lindelof at right back. Seemed a strange decision at the time. He played Fred as a sole defensive midfielder. He explained exactly why after, and I'll run through it, because obviously it didn't work. And it was that early goal that killed it. It was that early goal that changed everything in that game. I'll be honest, though, even before the goal, we just looked lost, didn't we? We looked lost. Looked lost. This is what Ralf said after the game. He said, I don't know if I rescued it, but after the performance of the first half, it could only get better because of how we played in the first half. I still cannot believe what we did. We played without conviction, without the necessary aggression against the ball, and that's why we were struggling in the first half. Now, if you look into those comments further, the thing I really, really love about Ralf Rangnick so far is his honesty. He is so clear and concise in what he's saying, and he's got a very eloquent way of putting it. You can listen to Ralf and you can completely understand what he's talking about. Ralf could be speaking there to somebody who doesn't even watch football, and they could probably understand the problems that United were doing. He just breaks it down very simply, very composed. He's not angry. He could get furious with how Manchester United played in that first half. And maybe he does behind closed doors in the halftime team talk. But it was that lack of conviction. Manchester United, as I said in my match reaction, I think Man United it's almost like the players got swallowed up by the occasion. Because it's an intense atmosphere. Going away to Atletico Madrid in that stadium, Champions League round of 16. We haven't been here in a couple of years. It was an occasion that United just did not live up to at all. Paul Pogba, I could really heavily criticize Paul Pogba's performance if I really wanted to, but I think it was partly, at least, a consequence of Atletico Madrid's prowess. The fact that they just squeezed. Pogba had no time at any point to breathe on that ball. And because we have Fred playing as a sole defensive midfielder, hell, we saw the impact that Matic had when he came off the bench, right? It was such a bad first half. And I'm being polite because I can't be asked to swear this early in the morning. It was abysmal beyond belief. I struggled to get any positive from that first half performance. You know, sometimes when United are playing bad, you can say, well, at least X played okay. There was nobody. There was nobody that I was going to stand up for after that first half. Nobody. And yeah, it's one of the worst first half performances I've ever seen from United, really, under Ralf Rangnick and probably since Fergie. Oh, geez, or just forever. A few comments here. Let's read a few of your comments out before we move on. JH saying our midfield altogether was awful in the first half. It was. As I said, there's Arthur, you're spot on there. He totally bossed it. Kondogbia absolutely bossed the midfield. It was Correa dropping deep from the striker position, and he just kept getting his leg in. Kept getting his foot in, and we couldn't really do anything about it. Hector Herrera. Bear in mind, by the way, this is an Atletico Madrid team that didn't have Griezmann in it, that didn't have Koke, that didn't have Carrasco, that didn't have Suarez. You're thinking, and they're playing like that. This game is delicately poised for Old Trafford, and that's putting it mildly. It's going to be nervous. And United, as I said, we got absorbed by those nerves. Those nerves really went against us, against Atletico Madrid last night. That can't happen at Old Trafford, or we will lose, I think. Andy, you're saying, when I was watching Rashford last night, he looked like a shell of him for himself, almost like in Space Jam, where the players had their talent taken away. Clearly, something's not right. You're right there, Andy, and we definitely will be speaking about Russia. Russia? Jeez. Rashford in a little bit. I think I might be getting distracted by Russia and Putin being an absolute madhead that he is this morning and fucking invading Ukraine. I really hope this doesn't go into an all-scale war, and I hope that anybody who's affected by that in Ukraine is safe. But that's mad, isn't it? Mad that we're on the verge of war again in Europe. Jesus. But people in the comments, don't keep firing in. And anybody who's firing in comments about Russia and what's going on, can you mute them for like 300 seconds or whatever? There's no. We're talking about football here. All right, it's not a politics show, so don't try and distract me with those. You just did though, but fair enough. Let's go down here and let's see what else Ralf said about the game. He said, we were too apprehensive with the ball in the first half. We didn't take any risks when we were in possession of the ball. We played in our own half without any deep runs, without any physicality. And it's difficult against a team like Atletico. And this is what I mean. You just listen to Ralf and he's like, yes, that's exactly what the problem was. And he's so verbal in the visualizations of the problems. And it's great. It really is great. Let me go down here and let me just mute you. There you go, sir. Thank you very much. Manchester United in that first half, it was the lack of deep runs. It was did you see Varane quite a few times? Those vertical runs where he was trying to break through. He was breaking the line, but he reached the halfway line and he's looking up and he's like, there's no movement. There's no movement at all. What am I supposed to do? So he turned back and passed it backwards. It was so odd for Manchester United. It was so odd, especially given what we have been doing in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 performances. We've seen some cohesion. We haven't seen it for a full 90 minutes, and we know that, right? But we were better than we showed in that first half yesterday. Absolutely. We go down here and we see what else Ralf is saying. He goes, I must say it was a brilliant cross straight to the near post. But again, we have to be more aggressive and we have to play with more conviction on the ball. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it was. and exactly what we did not have. And I'll be honest, we're dead lucky to come away from that game with a 1-1 draw. Now, let's be honest, in the second half, Atletico Madrid definitely took their foot off the gas. Atletico Madrid definitely allowed Manchester United to get back into that game. But I'll tell you what, one thing completely and utterly changed that game. Ralf Rangnick's substitutions. That's 2 games in a row now. We rewind to the Leeds game. You remember what happened there? Paul Pogba got taken off and Fred got put on. And people laughed at Ralf for his substitutions. I questioned it. Of course it did. Pogba was incredible for the first 45 minutes against Leeds. What happened? Fred comes up with a 3rd goal. Game-changing substitution. Against Atletico yesterday, 3 substitutions. Tellez came on for Shaw. Wan-Bissaka came on. Who did he come on for? Pogba? I can't remember. No, Matic came on for Pogba. Wan-Bissaka came on for... Was it Lindelof? Yeah, I think it was Lindelof. And we switched to that back 4. And what happened? Manchester United, and this is at 1-0 down. Everyone's like, oh, wow, Ralph's throwing the game. Oh, what an idiot. That's the worst 3 substitutions I've ever seen in my entire life. What happens? All of a sudden, Manchester United start to get an element of control in the game. Our fullbacks actually start playing like fullbacks. Matic actually starts giving us more control in the middle of the pitch. And Manchester United start getting a leg up into the game. All because of the substitutes that he made. Then what happened? He took off Marcus Rashford for Anthony Elanga. What happened? Anthony Elanga gets the goal. The substitutions that he made yesterday completely transformed the shape of that second half. And people love slamming managers, love slamming United managers. Oh, you've made the wrong subs. You've taken too long, X, Y, Z. What are you bringing Matic on for? You may as well forfeit the game now. You're playing Football Manager, people. Not the manager who's standing on the sidelines, who can see what is not working in the game and can see how it can affect it positively. If there's a game where we need to chase it, he'll throw on the attackers, absolutely. But we didn't need to chase that yesterday, according to Ralf Rangnick. Not by those subs. He's like, no, we don't need to chase it. We need to control it a bit more. And that's what Matic there, only reinforcing the argument that I've been having for what feels like 2.5 years now, that Manchester United need to sign a pure defensive midfielder. And I think we all know that now, right? I said at the start of this summer that's just gone and the summer before that the priority for Man United was a defensive midfielder. And we didn't get one in either window. We will get one in the next one. That's a guarantee. And I'll be like, finally, Jesus Christ. That's only 2 years too late. But Matic coming on the pitch there for Fred. No, not for Fred, but Matic playing for Pogba inside that position and then dropping and actually screening the defenders gave the defense more confidence. They had a player who was stationed in front of them, who was marshaled there to hold the ball, to marshal there to protect the defenders, and he protected them. And it changed the scope of that game. It stopped allowing Atletico Madrid to dominate that part of the pitch, and it gave United a bit of an out from defense. And we started playing differently. So for 2 games in a row, Ralf Rangnick completely changed it with his subs, to the point where even Paul Scholes is complimenting him after the game. And I know that's so tough for you, Paul. He said Ralf Rangnick's record is very good, and his subs have been very good. It is not strange for me. It is a typical Manchester United performance under this Manchester United manager. And I think we've now got to start having a conversation about Ralf Rangnick. Okay? You know, where do you stand? Where are you at with Ralf? Because I'm pretty damn clear on my opinion on him. And I'll be honest, I love the bloke. I absolutely love the bloke. I'm going to go down here, read a few of your comments in. So as I said, fire some of your comments in about Rangnick. Let's go down here and see what you're saying. Subs were on point. Tellez came on and made a difference, says Ivana. Yeah, it was not just him that made a difference. Absolutely. Home Valley, I don't understand how we can never learn from the same basic mistakes over and over again. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. It's exactly the word I would use to describe it. But yesterday, I don't think it was... Yesterday, as I said, I think we really got swallowed by the atmosphere, swallowed by the occasion, and the players crumbled and folded like biscuits. They didn't really know what to do. Like spinach in a hot pan. I think that's what I said. Just wilted under that pressure. And it was kind of a surprise, given that we had proper Champions League quality players there. Pogba, Sancho, Ronaldo, Bruno. For them to have sort of collapsed in the atmosphere that was obviously going to be there really kind of took me by surprise. T, you're saying we need to What's going on there? Has that stopped working? Oh, that's really handy. That stops working. We need to stop being so nice and have a mean element to us. We get bullied a lot. Yeah, man, we get bullied terribly. One second, let me turn that off and let me turn that on. The beauty of technology, when it works, it works. When it doesn't, for some reason out of nowhere, it will stop working. But I'll get it fixed. We do need that mean element. And Atletico had that mean element for the whole game yesterday. The whole game. Up until United actually started playing a bit of ball. And United started to get into the game. And United finally got into that game yesterday. And it changed. And Elanga was the man who changed it. Now, let me go down here and see what you're saying about Ralf Rangnick, right? Raden, you're saying Rangnick once again showed his intelligence and understanding of football. Avad, you're saying Ralf Rangnick is the man that will right this Man United ship. Ian, you're saying Ralf looks like a manager who knows what he's doing. Dejan saying he's not flawless, just highly experienced, insightful, and willing to take risks. If it always paid off, it wouldn't be called a risk. Yeah, that's a fair point about risks. Jason, you're saying Ralf is great, but we need him upstairs in Ten Hag before any other club gets him. And David, you're saying Ralf has been class. Only lost one match since arriving. Just annoying that there's a lack of consistency with the players now. Now, you've said it, you've mentioned it there, but I was going to bring it up anyway. These are the stats about Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick so far, this is what we're looking at. 15 games, 8 wins, 6 draws and 1 defeat, a 53% win percentage, 2 points per game, 1.3 goals per game scored with 0.8 goals per game conceded. Ralf Rangnick really has got Manchester United back, not back on track. He's changed what track we're on. He's changed the destination of this team, as it stands anyway, given what's happened so far, 15 games in. It really is fantastic work. What he's doing inside what was clearly and is clearly a bit of a toxic environment. Not all of those players are on board. That's why he's starting to have to use 19-year-olds as role models. That's as damning as it gets, right? But as long as he's got players like Elanga setting the tone, like McTominay setting the tone, would we have got so dominated in midfield yesterday if we had McTominay on there? Probably not. Is McTominay the midfield answer? Definitely not. But does he set a bit of a tone? Yes, he does, which we did not have in that midfield yesterday. Say what you want about him. Seriously. Besnam, what you said? Benham, sorry. You're saying half of that team are average or crap in the game. No fee for Ronaldo, 80 million centre-back at fault for the goal. Weak mentality, FC mode. Youngster got us out of jail. Well, I can't really disagree with anything in that comment, really. I wouldn't say half of this team are crap. This team is good, man. This team is good. This squad is good. There's quality all throughout this squad. And I won't let a bad performance tell me that that's not the case. Of course, there's areas we need to improve, and we all know that. But that team was far, far, far better than that first half performance showed. And we showed a bit of spirit in that second half, and it was the youngster that changed that. But Ralf Rangnick, for me, right, he is the man. He absolutely is. Let me get a picture of him up here so I can have him on screen whilst I'm talking about him. Because I feel really firm about this, if I'm being completely honest. I think United have just, we've got so many things wrong over the years, man. So many things. It's incredible. But I think we're sitting here with an incredible opportunity with this man. If Ralf Rangnick is truly given the power at Manchester United and he moves upstairs and he moves into that role that we all know he can do and that we all know he could probably do very, very well, I think United have got the greatest chance of modernising. There's a reason I was so excited when Ralf was announced as our interim manager. And I'll be honest, it wasn't really to do with the football. I wasn't buzzing my tits off about seeing a 4-2-2 system or seeing Manchester United starting to press. It's because I've always had the longer-term vision in my head as a fan. Something I think United have lacked as a club. But Ralf Rangnick is the man to take us towards that long-term plan. And I swear to God, we do not deserve to win a league title in the next 30 years if we overlook this opportunity that is sitting right in front of us. It's like fishing in a barrel. It's there. How can you miss it? And of course, it's gonna all depend on whether or not Ralf is given the power upstairs. That's the biggest question mark that we won't get answered, I suppose, until the end of the season. until a new manager comes in and until we can see whether Ralf has got that power. But we've heard so much about the delegation of power away from the non-footballing people at Manchester United towards Ralf Rangnick taking control of the football side. And I personally think he's overachieved in these first 15 games. And if we're looking at performances, if Manchester United's players weren't so crap and inconsistent, we would have beaten Burnley, we would have beaten Middlesbrough, we would have beaten Southampton with ease, completely with ease. That's 3 more wins we would have had. And what would that make his record? Let's have a look at that. And if that was the case, it would have been 15 wins, 11 draws, 3 defeats, 11 draws and 1 defeat. That would have been incredible because we dominated those games. In terms of the football that he was making us play, we looked electric. We created so many chances in those games, and it was just down to the bad finishing, the bad players that stopped it. But as I said, the main reason I've always been so excited about Ralf has honestly got nothing to do with the football. The football's a side story. The football is short term. Between now and the end of the season, I don't think we're going to win the Champions League. And I don't really care where, of course, I want to finish inside the top 4. But I don't really, of course I care. I want us to finish there. But Ralf, man, we have finally got a chance to modernize as a club. We just have not done it. Post-Fergie, in the rise of player power and in the rise of modern clubs that rely on a very different structure. It's not about the manager. It's about the first team coach. And it's about all the people who are around him that you can help then get towards that goal. City, they brought in whatever his name is. Anyway, they brought in the backroom, not the backroom staff, but the board basically from Barcelona, from Pep Guardiola's best time there. And Guardiola came in and all he had to do then was focus on the football. And as one of the best coaches in the world, he's been massively successful with that. Jurgen Klopp, it's a little bit different. I think he's got more autonomy and more power inside that Liverpool setup than I think we all give credit for. And therefore, when Klopp leaves Liverpool, I think they're definitely going to have a bit of a slump. But Ralf Rangnick at Manchester United, I've supported him since day one. I refuse to genuinely hear too much criticism about him. You can speak about bad subs if you want. You can speak about poor starting 11s. You can speak about poor tactics. But it's not the biggest fucking problem. It's not the main goal that he needs to achieve. Jonathan, you're saying, calm down. He hasn't overachieved. They came second last year in too many draws. He's dining well, but let's not get carried away. Jonathan, you're focused on the football. I'm not focused on the football. I'm focused on the environment. I'm focused on Manchester United as an actual football club modernizing. And I think in the circumstances, I think he's very much overachieving. You can disagree with you. Of course, everybody's entitled to an opinion, as we know. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. But some are dirty. No, I'm not saying yours are dirty. I'm joking. But Ralf, look, this is exactly why I was so excited at the very start, and my excitement levels haven't dropped. The more I hear of him, the more I hear him speak, the more I see Manchester United game in, game out going on. Ralf is the man to take this club forwards. Not as the manager, but he's the man to steer the ship. That's what I think about it anyway. Let me go down to the comments there. That was a bit of a rant, I suppose. Any other comments here? The top 4 teams we play, I think we then judge where Rangnick is in United. Yeah, if you want to do that, cool. Yeah, you can judge after the next 5-6 games we've got coming up in March. We've got Watford away. Watford at home, sorry. And then I think we've got City away. And then we've got Spurs at home. Then Atletico Madrid. Then Liverpool away, I think. Something like that. Of course, let's judge after that. Cool. But as I said, I'm not judging on the football. I'm judging by the fact that I can see the characteristics, I can see the intelligence, I can see the speech, I can see the fact that he is a man who can execute and maintain a long-term plan whilst managing others and bringing them in to work alongside him and inspiring them to work alongside him. He is the man that can truly instigate long-term change at the club. I genuinely don't really care. Of course, I care about the results in the next 6 weeks, but it's not going to change my opinion. My opinion is based not on the results. My opinion is based on something far bigger than that. Ray Carr, what you're saying there? I believe Ralf is quietly turning us into something good. Keep the faith in Ralf. I think everyone's got the faith in Ralf. at the moment. Of course, that faith could dwindle, right? I think Jonathan is right, and everyone's right in that opinion could change if we go and get battered by City, if we go and get knocked out of the Champions League, if Atletico Madrid in the second leg and we lose to Liverpool away, then cool. Maybe that narrative will change, but I swear to God, it's not going to affect my narrative one single bit. And I hope we can navigate through it, because if we don't navigate through it, then maybe there's going to be more pressure on him, and there's going to be question marks about X, Y, Z, about whether he's the right man. And I don't want those questions. But Ralph's the man. Ralf is the man. The greatest single chance we have of being an actual modern football club exists because of that man. And if we don't take it, I swear on my life, we deserve not to win anything. And Zico, that is an absolutely abysmal comment, which is going to get called up, saying I had the same attitude with Solskjaer. No, I did not, my friend. At no point did I ever say that Solskjaer was going to be the man to modernise Manchester United, to take us forward. I always said at the very, very start, you can try and pull out my early videos if you want. I know what I said. I always felt that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the man to come in, clean the shit off the decks, and then pass it to someone else to go and win the trophies. I didn't expect the downfall that happened, and I was a little bit disappointed at that. And I don't think that the club was left in the greatest condition when he left. But I do think that he instilled some things and he got rid of certain things as well. But Ralph's the man. Ralf really is the man to take us forward as a club, not as a manager, not about the football, but as a club. And this is what I mean. When you're looking down and you just focused on the football, on the results, on the performances, on X, Y, Z, you don't take a step back and look at the bigger picture. I'm purely focused on the bigger picture. Not purely. That's a lie. Of course, I'm watching the games with excitement. But I've got so much of my vision on what I can see happening with him at the helm. And by the helm, I don't mean in the manager position. I mean upstairs. It just excites me. It really does excite me. Let's go down here. And that's also about, I'm going to call you out because you had 2 terrible comments. 0 contributions, bro. In fact, you're going to get muted for that. Terrible, terrible comments. People still say that there's a reason that United fans are still chanting Solskjaer's name out in Madrid, and it's not because he scored in 1999. Who's it that explained it really well? Somebody explained it really well in terms of breaking the Solskjaer, because it's very hard to articulate on a live stream like this the good that Solskjaer did. But he did plenty, and I'm not getting involved in that conversation again. But look, another player we've got to speak about yesterday, and that's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, let's be honest, probably the worst 45 minutes we've seen from him in United, given the circumstances, given the game, given what was happening. Probably the worst 45 minutes we've seen from Bruno Fernandes. My God, he was bad. He was bad. Losing possession. I think he lost possession 4 or 5 times in the first 5 minutes. It was tragic. But this is why Bruno Fernandes gets a lot more leeway than anybody else for me. Bruno Fernandes yesterday became the first player in Champions League history to assist in 6 consecutive appearances while playing for an English club, breaking the record held by David Beckham since 1998. Bruno Fernandes, right? He can be a very frustrating player to watch, but he's a creator. Who came up with the clutch assist when we needed him to there yesterday? Bruno Fernandes. Who has done that on so many occasions over the last 2 years? Bruno Fernandes. Can his head get taken away in matches? Absolutely. Is he frustrating to watch? Absolutely. Can he do better? Absolutely. Would I take him out of the team? Not in a million years. Would I have taken him off yesterday? Not in a million years. And it's like people expect nothing but perfection every single game. And if you don't do it, I'm going to get angry with you because I played FIFA last night and you did every pass perfectly. So if it happens in FIFA, you must be able to do it in real life. People. Bruno can play 90 minutes every single game for the rest of his Manchester United career, and I will happily just sit there with a smile on my face. Players like him will piss you off. Now, given he pissed me off unnecessarily yesterday, and I think that's part of his game that he has to just be a bit smarter, Bruno, man. Just be a little bit smarter. Emotion is great, all right, but when that emotion gets control of you, it's when that emotion isn't a benefit. So I think that's something that he's got to he has to mature a little bit in that sense, but that's down to player development. And I think hopefully in time that will happen. I don't think it probably will, though, because he was the exact same at Sporting Lisbon as he is at Manchester United. But Rebecca is this, that Bruno is frustrating. Bruno will never not be frustrating people, but he's always, if you're looking at anybody in that squad to come up with the magic, who are you looking towards? Bruno Fernandes. He could do 8 things terribly, but he'll do that one that wins the game. Boom. And the scorn towards him, people trying to say, by the way, how is it that randomly goals and assists can be considered stat padding when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, but nobody else? It's quite literally the measure of a creative midfielder, how many goals they contribute to and how many assists they get. And Bruno dominates. Nobody's created more chances than him in the Premier League this season. His goal and assist return in his games at Manchester United have been absolutely ridiculous. Now, Alex, look, he wastes time arguing with the referee. He loves throwing his hands up in the air. But fuck it, man. That's part of the package. That's part of the Bruno Fernandes package. If we could chisel away, if we could polish him, if we could get rid of those cracks, then he will become a more complete player. But it's Bruno Fernandes. He's got his imperfections, but I would not take him out of the team at any point. Doesn't matter how bad he's playing. Yesterday is a perfect example. On paper, Bruno should have easily been hooked. But Ralf, he said, no, why am I going to take... Obviously, he didn't say that, but in his head, he's thinking, why am I going to take Bruno Fernandes off? I know that if when it comes to that moment at that time, there's probably no one else I would want to deliver that pass. And there's not many other people I would want on the end of that shot. People, try and point your fingers elsewhere inside this Manchester United squad, because trust me, it's not towards Bruno Fernandes that you need to be pointing it. It doesn't matter how many times he gives the ball away. It doesn't matter what he does. He is the guy that comes up with the goods. And as Opta said last night, the first player in Champions League history for a UK club, English club, sorry, to assist in 6 consecutive Champions League games. What more do you want? Seriously. I think it's, I don't know. It's just, people just want more, constantly want more and more and more, quicker, more, now, no mistakes, now, quicker. And it's unrealistic quite a lot of the time. And Bruno, man, I absolutely love Bruno. And Chud, I mean, obviously a little bit of exaggeration here, but seriously, if you can try and cast your mind back to where we were in that December period before we signed him, that was when Solskjaer was on the verge of getting sacked. That was when Solskjaer, it all seemed terrible. And Bruno came in and transformed the second half of that season. He has transformed quite a lot of this Manchester United team since he came in. As I said, I maintain this to you. He's the person who came in and dragged the club out of the mud. Paul Pogba wasn't able to do that. And I've said this before, Bruno has the capability of dragging the club out of the mud, single-handedly pulling everybody up. That's what he's done. Paul Pogba, I hoped, would be the player that would then take that ceiling and just raise it higher. And I think he has done that in the last few games. But wow, Paul Pogba disappeared yesterday, didn't he? I think he absolutely got, like as Craig, excellent comment there saying, I'm taking my hat off to Simeone because he really choked our creative players. That's exactly what they did yesterday. Paul Pogba, as I'm saying, you could, as Josh is saying down here, look, he played like a bag of shit last night. But Craig's completely right. Simeone and that Atletico Madrid team choked Manchester United out of it. They gave no time at all to Pogba on the ball, no time at all to Bruno on the ball, and they forced their mistakes. If they didn't do that, guarantee you Bruno wouldn't have given away possession as much as he did. Guarantee you Paul Pogba would have had a better game. But they both got choked out of it. Absolutely man-marked out of that game, and it worked brilliantly. And that's why United struggled so much in that first 45. But because of the start of play, you saw in that second half, maybe Atletico couldn't do it for the full 90. They had to take a step back. And it is. It is what it is. But seriously, people, you are speaking to the wrong person if you want me to come on here and start attacking our best player. All right? I do not give a shit how many mistakes he makes in the game. He's the sort of player that will make mistakes because he's looking for that pass. He's looking for that diagonal. He's looking for that through ball. Whereas others will go, I'll pass it sideways. You take the responsibility. Bruno always takes the responsibility on. Does he always get it right? Nah. He doesn't always get it right. But in the last 6 Champions League games in a row, he's got it right. He is the king of the assists and the king of the goals. And Rob, look, you're going down here saying, don't agree, Sam. He's too wasteful and doesn't do enough off the ball. If he's man-marked, he's ineffective. He's great when we dominate, but he never digs in. Come on, man. Come on, Rob. Throws his hand like a spoiled child, which irritates me. That people just get irritated by his personality. Come on, you can't say that he never digs in when things are going wrong. People, he literally came into our club when it was drowning. And he pulled us out. The opposite is what happened. I know he's a player you can get frustrated with, people. I know that. I get that frustration too. But our club's still in a complete mess. And he is probably the last person you're going to find me criticizing. Doesn't matter how bad he plays. Because you know what? He constantly turns up with the goals and the assists. Doesn't matter how bad he's playing, but he keeps doing it. Simple as that. Sam, how you doing here, buddy? Thanks for the super chat. Nice to see you. Said it's all because of the fans. It's all because the fans that make the most noise are the ones that only saw United 2006 to 16 sort of period when they were the best team in the UK. They don't accept that we can't reach that level at the moment. I definitely, Sam, I've great name, by the way, obviously. I've spoken about the entitlement of a lot of Manchester United fans for a long time. And as I said, now it's basically the generation that you're in. When you go onto Netflix, every single week there's a new series and a new ridiculously top quality TV series that you can start watching. As soon as it finishes, you want another one right now. Right now. Where is it? Where's the next one? Now. Despite the fact that it takes like 12 to 18 months to really make a top quality season of TV. Now. That's what a lot of football fans want. Now. Success. Goals. Titles. Now. Why aren't we getting it now? Sack the manager. Sack all the players. Bring all new ones in. I played FIFA once. I sold 4 players this season and brought in 4 players. What happened? They won the treble the next year. Now. It's very much the mentality and the culture of a lot of football fans right now. And it means that there's a lack of patience. I'm not here saying, well, we're a club in transition. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But I can see a lot of good things inside this United team. I can see a lot of bad things as well. And I don't know. I think I've got more patience because I can see that what this path that we're on now is the best path that we've been on for so long, man. For so long. And I just don't want it to be thrown away. I really don't want it to be thrown away. Jibak, what are you saying here? I love Bruno, but I think having both him and Ronaldo is too much for a team. Most of the time, Raplatsky playing with 9 men can only have one of them. And that's a fair, kind of a fair comment there. I think Ronaldo, as I will continue to say about Ronaldo, and he's not playing in a team that dominates possession. He's going to cut a frustrated figure so often. He's going to be isolated so often. He's not got the energy as a 37-year-old to put himself about. He's a proper number 9. He will only stay in the number 9 position, ideally in an ideal situation. But because he's getting so frustrated, he keeps dropping deeper. Bruno Fernandes, as we know, as I said, I'm not saying that Bruno Fernandes is flawless, but am I able to look over those flaws because of what he brings to the team? You're damn right I am. And I won't focus on those. Look, you didn't see Paul Scholes giving away a ball like that. You also didn't see Paul Scholes playing in a team with Scott McTominay, with Harry Maguire, with Victor Lindelof, with Marcus Rashford. You saw Paul Scholes playing in a team with Roy Keane, with David Beckham, with Ryan Giggs, with Ferdinand and Vidic, with Van der Sar, with Fergie as a manager. Do you see where I'm getting at here, my friend? Do you see where I'm getting at? It's a very, very unrealistic comparison that does not take circumstances and context into the situation. And people are great at doing that. People are great at doing that. Paul Scholes, no, he's not Paul Scholes because I don't think there's ever been another Paul Scholes. Even Iniesta or Xavi loved Paul Scholes. A very horrendous comparison, really. But look, I can argue about this, and there will be plenty of people that disagree with me. But hey, that's football, isn't it? Exactly. Now compare Keane and Bruno. Bruno's excellent, but immature and soft. Man, look, I don't know. Clearly, we're going to get into some arguments in the comments here today. I'm sorry. I'm feeling argumentative. So let's have some more. I'm not feeling argumentative. But look, I'll say before we quickly move on to Marcus Rashford, which I know is a big talking point for everybody, please would you consider dropping a like on the video, even if you don't agree with me this morning. Drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you as part of the United People's TV community. Yeah, look, Ray, I tell you what, Paul Scholes couldn't tackle. We should have got rid of him completely. Anytime he put in a tackle or a red card, I hated Paul Scholes when he did that. Just boot him out of the team and ignore everything good that he does. It's almost like some players have flaws. Almost though. Not sure. That's all I'm saying. Marcus Rashford though, wow. What's your thoughts on Marcus Rashford at the moment? We'll do this and we'll have a conversation about it. Oh look, Dan, hey, Don's feeling very chipper. You don't know how to watch football. Just shout up. All right, I'll start shouting up, my friend. Jesus, I don't know. It feels like people don't. There seems to be a natural inclination to focus on the negativity, to focus on the negatives and pull the negatives, and maybe that's just the way that things go online these days. But you're not going to get that with me. I'm sorry, and that's probably why I don't have 1 million+ subscribers, because I don't focus on the negatives, and I won't just shout about the negatives and ignore the positives. Sorry, ladies and gents, but I'm not going to keep shouting up. All right. Anyway, Rashford, eh? What's your opinion on Rashford right now? It's got we already had a conversation. I already done a video. We need to talk about Rashford. By the way, the video later today is we need to talk about Anthony Elanga, because I tell you what, we do need to talk about him. But Rashford, wow, yesterday, woo, he's it's very sad to see, if I'm being completely honest. I spoke about it in that video I've already done on him, but my word, he was bad yesterday, and it's his decision making. It's how he looks when he runs. It's just, apart from that one time in the first half where he forced a player off the ball, skipped in, really nice pass inside to Bruno. Mate, what's happened to him, man? What has happened to our Marcus Rashford, eh? Last season, even when he was injured, he was still contributing so much. But Rashford now is only contributing in a negative sense. It's really, really sad to see. Really sad to see. And very surprising, because we all thought that after the shoulder surgery, he was going to come back. And as I've said, I don't know why no pundit ever seems to mention it. No pundit mentioned it when it took Sancho so long to get into form in the United team. No one's really mentioned it when it comes to Marcus Rashford. Both of them missed penalties for England at Wembley in the Euro 2020 final as England lost. It's like one of the hardest things that can happen to individuals. And did they both miss penalties? Well, Rashford did. I think they both did. And no one seems to mention it. Like it's not going to psychologically affect them. I don't know. I think it does. Let's go down here. Sam, what are you saying here? You think Euros after... Boom. There you go, Sam. I didn't even see your super chat when I was talking about it there. I don't know why I don't know why everybody seems to be brushing over that. It's a huge, huge moment there. And I think it's definitely affected him. Alex, you're saying he's been bad for a while. Surrendering, you're saying not sure if it's an issue with Rashford's confidence or he's trying too hard to impress that he's forgotten to do the simple stuff. I think Sancho's arrival has made it slightly difficult for Rashford, because Sancho is going on the left, he's going on the right, they're switching in between, and Rashford doesn't really know what he's doing. I can't put my finger on it. I'll be completely honest. Jonathan, you're down here. I like your comments. You'll say Rashford is like the reluctant footballer, as if he carries the world's weight on his shoulders. It's like he wants to be anywhere but on a football field. His confidence is dented, but maybe something else is bothering him. Mate, something is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, bothering Rashford. And none of us can put our finger on it, because none of us know. We can all make our assumptions. His off-field charity work has distracted him from his on-field football. Assumption. You don't know whether that's correct or not. I don't know whether it's correct or not that the England debacle with the penalties has affected him. That's an assumption. But that's all we can do, right? Because what we're seeing now, that player there, that's not Marcus Rashford. That is not Marcus Rashford. A player that you can absolutely get frustrated about because of his, like, whenever he keeps get his head down and makes his wrong decisions. But it's not just about that. It's wider than that. His body language is just wrong. Something's wrong with Marcus Rashford, and I wish I knew what it was. There's an excellent comment there, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Stephen, what are you saying there, sir? Thank you very much for super chat. Ole ruined Rashford, took his flair and charging ability from him and made him selfish, shooting at bad angles without thought. Now, if you're looking at charging ability, that's definitely ability of Rashford. I would also say it's a negative. Whenever he keeps his head down, doesn't get his head up, chin up, look for the passes. It was always one of the most frustrating things about Rashford. Shooting on sight, that's very much a Rashford thing. Cut inside, put your laces through it straight. He's not a finesser. He's not going to bend one into the top corner, is he? He's going to put his foot through it and try and take the net off. I don't know. For me, Rashford absolutely is somebody who shouldn't be in the starting 11 right now. I think the front three makes itself. Elanga, Ronaldo, Sancho. Simple as that. You could argue about Ronaldo's form, and then I would say, okay, who else are you going to put in there? Cavani, who's permanently on holiday, or nobody else. Simple as that. Rashford needs to, I don't know. I think he needs to be managed. I think it strikes me as a case that Ralf Rangnick really needs to bring Rashford into his office and say, look, you're going to have to be open and honest with me here. I can see that there's something wrong. And if you don't tell me what's wrong, I can't help you fix it. Ralf is the sort of manager that I think a player like Rashford, any player at Manchester United can take solace in. They can trust in that manager, that they won't use what he says against him. I think that's the only way we're really going to... It's the only way I think we're really going to get the most out of Rashford, because it's gone on too long now this season. Obviously, he missed the first few months with a shoulder injury, but ever since he came back, even though he scored in his first game against Chelsea, was it? Scored in his first couple of appearances. Hell, he even had that goal against West Ham. So I don't really think it's a confidence thing, because if anything's going to boost your confidence up sky high, it's scoring a 90th minute winner in front of the Stretford end to give United 3 vital points in the Premier League. That should have been, if it was purely a confidence thing, that would have been the springboard that got Rashford back to where he was. But instead, he's gone back into the shell after that. So I don't really think this is purely, this is not a confidence thing anymore. For me, it's something that's a bit bigger. And Anthony, you're completely right, saying, isn't that why we got a psychologist? Yeah, Sasha Lense came in as a sports psychologist. I tell you what, his job's cut out at Manchester United, my word. Something clearly is wrong with Marcus Rashford. And I hope that he can find out what it is, that we can find out what it is, and that we can resolve it. Because I want Marcus Rashford back. Right? Simple as that. Richie saying that I think Rashford should go on loan. Oh, no, I don't think so. Paul is saying, Sam, what is a sports psychologist doing? Or is that not the kind of thing that, yeah, it is the kind of thing that Rashford needs. We don't know. We don't know, man. Look, let's see what goes on with Rashford. But as one guarantee is he's going to be dropped from that team against Watford. It should be Elanga, it should be Ronaldo, it should be Sancho. Simple as that. And yes, it's just the way it goes in football. Eh? One player's fall leads to another player's rise. And Elanga's taken his opportunity with both fists. Look at that. What a segue that was. That needs to be clipped up. Oh, so good. Anyway, Elanga is the man right now. Happy days that we got that draw yesterday. It means game on at Old Trafford in a few weeks' time. That's going to be a special night at Old Trafford. Woohoo! Can't wait for that one. Champions League, proper Champions League night. Look, everybody, thank you very much for joining in this morning. Clearly, it was a conversation that not all of you agree with, certainly when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, but I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for all your engagement, all your comments, all the spammers who I actually had to boot out. Mods, thought you were taking control of that. Come on. I'm joking. But look, thank you all for joining in. Make sure you check out my video. It's going to go out at lunchtime because we do need to speak about Anthony Elanga. And I'm going to do it in a nice short form video because I know so many of you enjoy those. As much as you enjoyed the live streams like this, you like the short forms as well. So make sure you check that video out later and take it easy. Anthony Elanga.